think one of my favorite Tumblr jokes I've ever seen is just who would win a fight, the Predator or Kevin from Home Alone? And the first comment says, "How much prep time does Kevin have?"
All right, it's
Oh,
it's good to be back.
it is good to have welcome back, Ron Johnson, aka Phyllis. What's the new one you're going by? Switch TV.
AKA Phyllis Cypher,
Phyllis Cypher,
AKA RJ Wayne, AKA Ellsworth J on Twitch, twitch.tv/ Ellsworth J.
a man of many hats.
Many hats, many.
So check out his Twitch channel. We'll get the plug out of the way early this time. Go check it
Oh,
out.
oh yeah.
Go ahead. Do you want to plug your show right before we get started?
Oh yeah. So normally I do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I do bonus streams on the off days whenever I can get to it. But I'm changing up the streaming schedule because Cyberpunk is coming out.
Right.
So I would 3 days a week I'll be playing Cyberpunk, and 2 days a week I'll be playing Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm
Oh,
just finishing up
that's
the
so bad.
DLC on the regular Spider-Man game because I got a PS4 late. I didn't get it until a couple months ago. So
Oh, really? You wait that? I'm kind of surprised you wait that long to get a PS4.
I usually don't, but this was my last console war cycle, as you will. I called that long time ago that the Xbox One and the PS4 and the Switch were gonna be the last time I go out on the first day and get everything and take my time. And I'm not fanboying it anymore. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I mean?
get you.
I usually buy them all. I was a little bit late because of circumstances that happened in the past couple of years.
Makes sense. Yeah, as I'm usually like a late bloomer when it comes to the console stuff. I'll wait till they work out all the kinks first for when the
Mm-hmm.
first cycle comes out, and I'll wait till they drop the price and include like a game or two in it. Then I'll buy it.
See, I've always been there. I've been the opposite. I've been the early adopter, and I'm talking about like since the regular NES came out.
Damn,
Since the regular NES came out, I've had everything almost day one,
nice.
every single one. So I'm now not doing that anymore.
Well, my viewpoint is like it gets you time to wait for the good games to come out. So by the time you actually buy into it, you get all the good shit you can play. Is that
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm experiencing now. I'm glad I waited for PS4 because all the exclusives are out, all the games I want to play, and the third party titles. I feel like they play better on the One X anyway. So
yeah,
I
like
don't I don't need them.
Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War.
Yeah,
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 like
all that good stuff. I can play all that on the console it was meant for, and I don't need to worry about anything else because I already got all the shit on the other one.
my problem right now is I'm trying to avoid spoilers from Miles Morales for as long as I can until I can finally get a PS5, and it's gonna be a
What
bitch.
you should. I mean, you could come to the stream and watch it there. You
No,
could live
I'm,
vicariously through my hands.
I'm sorry. I got to experience it myself, man. I gotta get I gotta get my hands on it
Okay,
myself.
for sure.
But anyway, so go check that out. Now on to another effort to catch up on the massive list of backlog movies I haven't got around to, which is The Witches, which is the 2020 remake of the 1990 film that I have never seen. I read a bit on Wikipedia after I saw the remake because I had
And
questions.
yes, and the film in the '90s was based on the book, which got written way earlier before that. It was a children's book, written for preteens and elementary school kids, which was where I first read it and fell in love with it, loved it.
Okay, so you have a personal attachment to this story then.
I do, and I really enjoyed the first movie too in the '90s. I'm pretty sure that was like a HBO original. Actually, I'm pretty sure like it was a low budget kind of situation, but it was done through HBO.
I know it's on Netflix now. I don't
Hmm.
think it's on HBO, but either way, I guess they decided remaking it because I guess they still had the rights. Um, and now we got whatever this is. Um,
Well, telegraph. Why don't you tell them how you really feel about it?
um, for context, I've never read the book. I've never seen the original movie. I had no frame of reference going into other than the screenshots I saw of Anne Hathaway doing whatever she was doing.
Okay,
So, watching this movie,
it's
I had to
that's on purpose. But go ahead.
I had to stop about 30 minutes into it and talk to a couple friends on Xbox and go, I need someone to believe I'm watching this right now. When we got to
Eh,
the conference room scene in particular is what I'm thinking of. because that's when I was like, what is happening? I am so confused and a
Yeah,
little
it's pretty
horrified. Like,
it's pretty book accurate, and it's meant to be over the top. So yeah, it's not meant to be grounded in reality at all.
I mean, I
It's
gathered
not.
that much, but to the extent of which, mostly I kept thinking, like, what is Anne Hathaway doing?
I mean, okay, so Anne Hathaway. So I felt like I feel like she gets the character,
Hmm.
but the character work where the character is from, it's indistinguishable because she keeps switching accents. And you know, like when she walks into the hotel, I could have sworn she was Russian.
Yeah, I thought she was going for that too.
And, yeah, and then halfway through, like when she's walking into the conference room at the beginning, she sounds German. and,
Yeah,
and then and then for the rest of the movie, she's doing this thing like between the two, and
and then
she's
she just
supposed to
like,
be from the Netherlands or like Norway or whatever.
and then she like
Well,
randomly snarls and growls and stuff. I'm like, what?
yeah, so yeah, I'm not sure she locked it in, but I get, even through all that, the character of what she's trying to do comes through because I've seen and witnessed the other stuff.
Okay,
So
fair enough.
I will say in that regard, if we're talking about, well, and this is why in acting class they tell you not to do accents until you've nailed the character, right? Be
Mm.
it because if you go up there and do an accent, you're not really acting.
Yeah,
You're focusing on the inflection, you're focusing on what's coming out of your mouth, and you're not really playing, right? So yeah, I feel like she did the work when it comes to how the character is in the story and moves it forward. But personally, her moments on screen where there's close-ups of her and we're supposed to be focusing on just her are kind of weird.
yeah, to put it mildly.
Yeah,
So I
I'm
guess
being
it's like general
I
takeaways
work
from this movie first.
yeah, I work in this industry, bro. I'm
I,
being
I,
diplomatic.
I know you do. I know you do. I'm not belittling that experience. I'm more speaking from an outsider's perspective, having no frame of reference for any of this. Um, General
Right.
thoughts of the movie. I thought the movie was fucking weird. I'm just gonna be honest about it. I thought it was really
Um
weird.
had I been dropped out of the sky and saw the film, I would have thought it was weird, but it's pretty much the same standard fare as the one that got done before it.
Um,
And Angelica Houston was in the first one, and I thought she did an awesome job. She was super funny.
was like, in your opinion, having been familiar with the source material and seeing both movies, like, is this one better or worse than the original?
Honestly, a lot of it was paint by numbers. A
Mm,
lot of it is the same. Only they pushed it back. So the one that got done before it was supposed to be in modern times at the time, so it was supposed to take place in the 90s.
yeah,
But they pushed this one back into the late 60s, which kind of gives it a more interesting approach and feel, but doesn't change the story all that much. You know, your protagonists in the original film were all British.
yeah.
You
Like, I
know,
think
and
it took place in Norway or something, didn't it?
yeah, it was British, and then they were going to this hotel for a weekend or whatever, and all this stuff happens, and yeah. So this one is, it's in the heart of Alabama, and they actually they try to tie it to something that's very culturally strong,
Mm,
which is, you know, the old shanty towns in the South, with black people and black people kind of making their way through the mid to late 60s, and entering into the middle class and having this interesting kind of culture thing. So some supernatural stuff is very prevalent in our culture, especially in
mm.
that time. You
Yeah,
know
that
what I
makes
mean?
sense. Yeah, I felt
So
like
I
oh god.
no, go ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, I feel like when it was going to that kind of stuff, I was a bit more engaged with it, a bit more curious about it. It's like, okay, well, like, this seems interesting. Like, I was kind of with it for the first 10 minutes until the first witch showed up, and then she started doing whatever that voice was, and I,
Bro, so even okay, so it describes it in the book, and she tried to do it. Like I said, like Anne Hathaway, she
yep,
tried to do it, but
I know, and it's one of those things. Like, I'm sure it makes sense in the context of the original story. When I'm
yeah.
watching it here, it's like, oh my god, is there any scenery left, or did she chew it all? And that's before Anne Hathaway shows up.
Yeah, but yeah, that first witch did not set it off right. She did not.
No, like doing the elongated, like hissing and like or whatever the hell she was doing, and then there was
Yeah, it
it with
just
the snake, and I don't know. I just like, oh no. Um,
I feel like I feel like she did her best, but it just did not work. It did
and
not.
God bless Octavia Spencer. I will fully give her like absolute credit for this. For making this like of all the people that are all the people in this movie, I like she was the most convincing to me, even with some of the stuff she had to say. I was like, she's making this work. Her,
No, she is, and that's the thing. Roald Dahl's literature. It's like you don't have to do much because he doesn't leave anything to the imagination. Like he's not like when he writes about witches, all that stuff you saw in the movie, he wrote it out. He's
mm,
like they do this and they sound like this and it's like that and da 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 da. He writes it all, and so you have this very clear picture in your mind of what it's supposed to be. So Octavia Spencer, she's just basically damn near word for word just going with the book. And so all she has to do is make it real in the frame, and it's like I don't know. That's what I find with the Roald Dahl books is that is especially with witches was that as a kid I was like right into it. I was dialed in because of the way he described it. Like I didn't
mm,
have to think, well, what about this and what about that because he literally puts it all out
yeah,
there for you to see. So Octavia Spencer, that's why I call it paint by numbers because she didn't have to do much.
no, that's true, but
You
she's
know,
also wasn't trying to do more, which is less like
and that's yes,
yeah.
that's the thing, right? That's the thing, isn't it?
Like she had a good middle, and she maintained that through the entire movie. Which you have to respect a movie like this.
However,
Everyone
I
is like,
will,
going to the extremes at all times. It feels like anyway.
yeah, and how is especially so you want to know what almost took me out of the movie? I almost didn't enjoy it because what the hell was Chris Rock doing?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Like, I don't know what that
Like
was.
bro, like like okay. And here's the comparison. I'm gonna compare the two characters in the film to each other. I'm not gonna compare him to someone else.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge fan of Chris Rock to begin with. He has his moments, but let's compare Octavia Spencer to Chris Rock, right?
yeah,
Octavia Spencer definitely grounds the dialect of the South and the black person in the South of that time period in reality.
hmm
Okay.
yeah.
Chris Rock is doing a caricature of that style that Octavia Spencer does all through the movie
Mhm.
and doesn't hit it ever.
No,
Anytime he speaks, it's super cringe. It's
yeah, no, it's
super
pretty
cringe.
bad. Like so for context of what we're talking about here, the movie opens up with Chris Rock doing the narration as like the older version of the protagonist. And the whole plot is that what's the name of the kid? Lucas.
He does well. See, that's the thing. He's Lucas in the book and in the first movie. They don't even give him a name in this.
Oh, that's kind of
He is
all
called.
right.
If you read the credits, it's Hero Boy.
Interesting. That's
That's what they call him. They call
that's
him
an odd
Hero Boy,
choice, but okay.
and Chris Rock is older hero. You know,
Yeah. Okay. By the way, that after credits scene was like, what the hell? Like, I'll talk about that a little later. I don't know if that's in the book or not.
it's not, but well, okay. Part of it is so the erector set thing that they reference throughout the movie. First of all, erector sets very popular in the 60s and 70s. I don't know if you know anything about them, but they were basically Legos, but for real.
Oh yeah, I
Like
remember those.
like
Yeah.
like they were like pieces of metal that had you know parts where you could connect them together with real working tools. It was for like teaching kids who wanted to learn how to be mechanics and work with metal and do levers and pulleys and stuff.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
Yeah, erector sets were like big boy, almost man Legos.
No, I'm talking about the scene that came after that.
Oh, the you're talking about with the okay.
The
Well, I don't
child
want to give this.
militia.
Yeah, I don't want to give the story away, but
But
and
I
and
didn't
that
want.
and that part I don't remember that being part of the book. I don't remember that ever being a part of any
Yeah,
of
that
it.
was the part that was like, whoa, okay. So yeah, basically, this child loses his parents and he's taken in by his grandmother, played by Octavia Spencer. And while they're there, they realize that there are witches in their neighborhood, which Octavia Spencer has experience in. In an attempt to get away from them, they go to this big, fancy Southern hotel. Um,
Correct.
and then they imply they're gonna kind of do like a race commentary with this, but they never really do it all that much.
Yeah,
Um,
and I thought that was weird.
yeah, like that was kind of a weird thing to add and then do nothing with. There's also a whole plot, like subplot with Octavia Spencer, like supposedly being sick and having this bad cough throughout the movie, but then that literally goes nowhere. and it goes away at the very end. It's never brought up again.
Yeah, well,
Which I thought was weird.
yeah, they're implying that it's supernatural, that it's only because she's in the presence of the witches that it's happening. It's not actually a health ailment.
That's what I was figuring, but at the same time, like the witches didn't seem to know what was going on about it either. So
Well,
was,
okay, so all of them didn't know except for the Grand High Witch, the Anne Hathaway witch. She knew.
okay. I'll accept that explanation because whatever,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I turned, well, like I said, I turned a critical eye to it because I liked the other one, right? And the other one didn't have that plot point in it either, by the way.
Yeah, like, and there's always some level of like exception to disbelief that I have to make with these kind of fantasy stories. Like I just had this talk with Jingle Jangle, which we reviewed earlier this week, which movie we really liked. But they had a similar issue of like I have to accept that this version of math is nothing like actual math. Have you seen it?
I have not.
It's actually a very cute musical. I recommend it.
You're talking about the Netflix one?
Yeah, the Netflix one.
Okay, who did you review that with, by the way?
Matt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our musical expert. So that was
truth. I feel like I should have been a part of that. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's next time. There's still plenty more. There's still holiday movies come out, but it was actually really good. But the whole thing of it has this issue with math, where they have equations for impossible and stuff like that. And I have to accept the fact that that's not a unit of measurement.
Well, they're probably they're probably going back to Judeo-Christian concept of numerology, which actually is present in this film as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. They do that. Yes and no, because they also mention like derivatives and summations and integrals and all these actual real life math concepts.
Oh, okay. So they're actually introducing,
which is like threw off my engineering brain so much. But anyway, I'm gonna get on another math tangent. Go watch that video for that if you're interested. I went on like 5 math tangents in that video. But anywho, so yeah, and once they're at the hotel, they realize that all the witches are going there for like a witch con. Where they're led by Anne Hathaway, who reveals her plan to turn all the children into mice, and that's like the most I can say without really giving anything away. Spoilers. So like having no exposure to this in particular, I have to mention the conference scene because this is when they see like all the witches in all their witchy glory, where they take off the wigs and they have like the no toes except for Anne Hathaway, who has like raptor toes.
Yeah, that's all canon. That happens in the book, it happened in the other movie, and it happened here. I will say, however, though, they did a really good job of recreating the effects from the original movie and reimagining them in a different way. I really like those effects. I think they're cool. But there's some stuff that the director chose in this scene that I think is really weird. For example, like if you're a group of witches and you're trying to not get caught while you have this plan, I mean, you go through the trouble of saying your organization is trying to prevent the brutality to children, and you don't want to get caught. So the first thing she does when she goes in there is just start breaking shit all over the fucking. You know what I mean?
Right, she does do that.
Yeah, she like flipping podiums and breaking shit, and I'm like, who's cleaning this up? They're not gonna think that that's weird.
Like for me, like this is the part where like there's such highs and lows, like in a 5-minute span, where I kept having to pause, film parts of it, and send it to my friends, and going, "This is happening right now." Like Anne Hathaway's up there, and then her mouth just suddenly expands. She starts hissing and like talking like in a raptor voice. All of a sudden, it's like the fuck. Then she starts flying, and all the other witches start chanting "genius" while doing like lobster claw hands, which was just again with someone with no context of the original. It's like, what the fuck is happening? And then the part where I literally just said like Jesus tap dancing Christ is when all the kids are trying to escape through the vent, and then like the hands do this weird like contorting monstrosity thing.
Right, like her hands elongate, and she definitely that's super classic mythological beings from fairy tales from England and Scotland and and all these crazy places where the monsters just got these infinite abilities and can turn shapeshift and all that stuff.
And I'm usually okay with that kind of stuff. I like that kind of stuff on average, but the CGI they were using for it just gave it this weird feel to it that my brain was just not accepting.
Yeah, and that's not, and understand also that's not canon too. Somebody reminded me of that
Oh,
while
what the?
we were discussing some of the stuff surrounding the film, and they reminded me that that Roald Dahl had described them as having very long, slender, cat-like claws, and not having
Versus the
so
finger
that's
thing.
a yeah. So that the thing with the hands is completely it's completely reimagining of the scenario. Like that's not a part of the original story at all.
Yeah, yeah, and which as we were talking about before we started shooting, did draw some controversy. People actually do stuff from that condition. Although, like, how much of it is from those people versus people who are speaking on their behalf is kind of debatable.
Well, yeah,
Um,
and the thing that I want to say about that is that I'm always willing to listen to people if they're offended or if they're upset by that sort of thing, but
yeah,
I'm not sure I'm not sure that anything about this movie
warrants
is
it.
ground yeah it warrants it because it's completely not grounded in reality at all. They're not
Yeah,
they even go as far as to say that witches are not people, they're not even humanoids, they're not human.
yeah. So like, it's one of those
You know what
cases.
I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, I can understand why somebody would be upset, but I don't think it's worth making a big thing out of it.
I
I don't want to be little either, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I agree. No, I agree with you too. I don't want to belittle it either, but you know, I if the community wants to have a conversation about it, why not?
Yeah, like it really boils
I
down to
mean,
versus how dare you just like, hey, you probably didn't know this, but just like be
right.
aware.
But and also this is outrage before the movie came out, before anybody saw it. You know what I mean?
And then
Like
people saw it and
which
people
is
just kind of
when
stopped caring after
yeah,
that. Yeah,
which is when the Twitter outrage usually happens, you
pretty
know?
much.
And
Yeah,
so there's that, but I mean, okay, so and not to go down the rabbit hole, but you know, if we're going to be offended about that and we're going to have a discussion about that, can we have an elongated discussion about you know, black characters being turned into subhumans
hmm,
and having to be in the entire movie without actually being black?
yeah,
Like the, you know, the kid doesn't become a hero till he's a mouse. I
yeah.
got problems with that.
That bugged me too
So if you guys
for
yeah,
different
so
reasons,
if you
but yeah,
guys are, if we're gonna have the conversation, if we're gonna have the conversation about the other thing, you know what I mean. Don't
yeah.
come to me with your favorite snapshots of Princess and the Frog because I ain't feeling that shit either. Okay, that's what I'm saying. The only Disney princess who had to be a frog the whole fucking movie, okay, is the black one.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
All right,
Um,
all right.
we'll see how Soul
Yeah,
does when that comes out later this month.
there are deep conversations we can have on both accounts. So just understand that's Pandora's box. If we're talking about one thing, we're talking about all of it.
Let's save
Okay. So
that for Soul later this month. I
okay.
think that's
Okay.
probably a more appropriate place to have that conversation. Um, you know what I'm
For
talking
sure.
about, the Pixar one, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
Uh,
we can definitely have that. We can have that argument. Actually, I think that might finally break the Disney curse. We'll see.
I mean, from what I've heard nothing but great things about it. So it's more just like how it uses that, and if it's a problem, and how much so, and just the levels of it. So
but
it's definitely we'll wait and see. I've heard nothing but great things about the movie. Uh,
but yeah, like as a black person, I gotta hold my disbelief, you know,
yeah, for sure.
and I gotta suspend my disbelief and say that a black woman is gonna be able to stay in a grand hotel without anybody questioning her. She's gonna walk away with a trunk
Suitcase full of money. Yeah.
suitcase full of money stuffed in her car and not gonna get stopped by the police, robbed and killed. And, okay, and like you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
if I gotta suspend my disbelief, then y'all gonna have to chill too.
it's definitely a case of changing the settings of the original story without fully delving into the implications of it.
Right. Which I and again, I have a fondness for this story, for the setup, so I'm willing to allow it.
Yeah,
I'm
no, I
willing
hear
to
you.
allow it.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's one of these kind of movies. It does definitely have like a '90s kids movie vibe, like '80s and '90s kids movie vibe, where everything was just like, how much horrible shit can we throw at these kids and still have it be a kids movie?
Yeah, yeah, and also the it's definitely a 80s 90s kids movie because of the seriousness of it, right? Like the thing I think the theme of the witches is kids being reticent and available to the understanding that not everybody wishes you well. as a
I can see
child.
that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, that's the theme. Like mysticism aside, I think that's, hey, kids, watch what you fucking do. You
Yeah,
know,
no, I can
and
see that.
that's
Like, don't take candy from
definitely a
strangers, that kind of
'80s.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a '80s '90s moral theme that they hammered home to us in a big way all the time. They're always like, watch yourself, be smart. You know what I mean? Because there are people out here who smile at you, but they're not necessarily friendly. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of like Neverending Story or
Hmm.
Homeward Bound is another one I can think off the top of my head. That kind of similar thing going for it.
But even like the Home Alone movies, even
Yeah, Home
back
Alone.
then,
Yeah, one and
stuff
two.
like that in a big way, right? Like can you imagine a Gen Z having to deal with Kevin McAllister? They wouldn't have made it. Yeah, y'all wouldn't have made it the second day.
I think one of my favorite Tumblr jokes I've ever seen is just who would win in a fight, the Predator or Kevin from Home Alone? And the first comment says, "How much prep time does Kevin have?"
That that right there. Also, the thing that Kevin has going for him is that most of the time he's weaponless, and the predator's not going to attack if you don't have a weapon. That's one of the rules.
That's actually a very valid point.
So he can have him walk through the whole fucking house and just get hit with all that
Son
shit.
of a
And
bitch!
right.
Like, God damn, this little brat.
Well, yeah. The paint cans alone would have fucked the predator, because he got paint all over him. You can see his ass everywhere.
I actually do really want to see this movie now.
I mean,
Predator versus Kevin. I'd pay good
I
money to
mean,
watch that.
we're doing everything else.
Rebooting everything, might as well, right? Aren't they
Right.
actually doing a Home Alone reboot?
So I have heard, and again, I don't want to start rumors or anything like that, or have this become a discussion. This is like legit pass around. He said, she said.
Okay.
But I have heard that there is a McAllister family reunion movie that has been kicked around quite a bit, where they're all adults and they go back for Christmas. And I don't know what happens. I don't know the player. I don't know what the story is. I've just heard that they've kicked around that idea more than once.
Huh.
And matter of fact, I think somebody even did like a fan trailer for it and started that conversation a couple of years ago.
You know, it'd be really interesting. Just throwing out a fan theory idea would be really interesting if you really want to age it up and you want to like play like the nostalgia. Make it about how Kevin has to come to the terms of the fact he basically condemned these two guys just trying to get by to a life of criminal discrimination twice.
I mean, they were career criminals to begin with.
True. The point is
they got, and that's why you love the movie, because they have a friendly disposition, but they're crooks.
That's true.
Okay,
that's true.
And they deserve what they got.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, that's fair.
pretty much in every case they deserve what they got.
I'm just saying, if you want to add nuance to it, that's the way you can go.
I mean, they could. They could.
Maybe
do
not
it that
Kevin
way,
being the one to condemn them, but being a symptom of the social disease or anything.
Well, yeah, they're in the Midwest. I'm sure they were broke. I'm sure the life of crime was the easiest thing to do. But still, so and there's two movies, so that kind of fucks it up, because the first one, okay, they shoot their shot, they lose, but they went to jail, came out, and they could have let it go, but they didn't.
True, but then they can go into like percentage of recidivism and
this guy. Okay, well,
in my defense, I was just reading about this.
Well, okay, well then I'm gonna let you make that case. Then I'm gonna let you make because to me, my value system is like you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Okay, like, you trying to rob somebody, if it just so happens that they knew you were coming and fucked you up when you came in the house, then.
But they couldn't get an actual job, Ron. That's the problem. They tried to move to a different city, but the background check always came back.
Hey, man, you know what? You make the case. You make the
case. Yes, I will. I'll write up a draft. Pitch it to Hollywood.
All
right. Anyway,
God forgives. That's not how you spell my name.
Right. So anyway, back to witches.
But these are the best reviews though. When we just veer off the path, we
Going
just
on
drive
massive
off the cliff.
tangents.
Yeah, man, these are the best.
Eventually, remember we were talking about like a movie as opposed to just everything.
Yeah, just anything. So, but also it's because, like I said, for me, The Witches is just really straightforward. It's
Mhm.
not too different than the other things I've seen or read about it.
I think for like
The
comparison to a
original.
lot of modern kids movies I watch now, this definitely does have a very off-putting feel, which I don't think maybe worked better in the '90s. I don't think it really jives as well now.
Well, because concerns are different, right?
Yeah.
You if the problem I have with children's movies now is that they are children's movies for kids and they're loosely based in any thematic relevance.
Mhm.
The kids movies that I watch always had thematic relevance. That's the reason they got made. It like old storybooks to teach you. Yes, you get involved with the characters, but it's trying to teach you something. Edutainment was big when I was a kid. So for me, seeing children's movies kind of walk away from that kind of bothers me. I don't like that.
I don't know. I think it depends on the movie
You
itself. I don't think
know.
kids movies by themselves have veered away from that. I think the focus on where those lessons are is just very different.
Yeah, and
It's
because
less
there are
don't
different
take candy from.
concerns.
It's like it's the less don't take candy from strangers and more of hey, here's how to cope as a person. Is more like that's the shift I've noticed in a lot of kids movies over the years.
Yeah, and that's cool. That's
Yeah,
totally cool. But this is definitely a 80s 90s story that it you're right. It's lost its relevance in current day concerns.
yeah, and for me the execution it just has this very off-putting overabundance of CGI quality to it that just feels weird. Like it like there's a bit of like cognitive dissonance. I don't know if that's the proper term for this. But just there's it's that kind of that uncanny valley where like you want to buy into it, but at the same time everything looks really fake and like it's it's not really there and it's distracting and the CGI on Anne Hathaway with like the mouth and is just really distracting, and you can't really stop looking at it, and you can't stop seeing how fake it looks, which takes away from everything else about it. It became really hard for me to get sucked into this.
Yeah, you're not wrong about any of that. I like I said, I'm just the wrong person to criticize that because I have a lot more tolerance of it because of the other ones I've seen.
Fair enough.
You know, so that's why. But it's not that I disagree with you.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm more comparing this to like the other kids movie I saw on Friday, which again was Jingle Jangle, which had very similar kind of otherworldly elements to it. But I think the reason like that one worked better for me is because there was more consistency
I see.
across like characters and themes, stuff that annoyed me with the math stuff. Um, and, I feel like it had a better heart and character to it. While this one, like I said, felt very like paint by number, while also
Hmm.
having some really weird moments that just took me out of it. Like
Well,
every
yeah, yeah. Like, well, they, like I said in the beginning of the film, the first 10 minutes ran the risk of me just completely shutting my brain off because Chris Rock was so off-putting to me. I was like, bro, like, why are you trying to do a caricature of a white man in blackface, trying to talk like a black person, and like,
yeah,
like I don't understand. And I'm like, yeah, like Chris Rock, you don't have to try to be black.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like why? I don't understand.
like
Like,
doing stereotypical Chris Rock voice.
yeah, that's what I mean. But also doing stereotypical, just a stereotypical black man dialect from that era is like you didn't have to do that. Like again, Octavia Spencer did it in the right way. She grounded it right where it's at. People definitely talk that way.
Yeah,
They
I mean
they
she's done a
definitely
period
did.
piece at this point that she's kind of got that
Right.
sense down.
She's
It's
right in the pocket. Chris Rock, like I don't know if it was because he was in an audio booth or that they had haphazardly given him pages or whatever. It sounded like he wasn't even trying, number one, and number two, it just did a disservice to the period.
yeah, and then that kind of
um
leads into that. This is going to go into spoiler territory because I do want to talk about the final scene of the movie, where it
okay.
turns out the whole thing is the Chris Rock mouse. By the way, they're all mouses by the end of this. They never turn back into humans, which I thought was a weird happy ending to have.
which
Uh,
which yeah which actually is not a part of the original story either.
did they turn back into kids in the original movie?
Lucas and his grandmother actually figure out how to reverse it, and he turns back into a boy. But when he comes back, he didn't have any clothes on as a mouse, so he's like butt naked.
See, I thought that was really weird to keep it this way. It's like, wait, so they're just not gonna be humans anymore? They're just mouse for the rest of their life. And then like, there's even a part where the king is like, "How long do mouse live?" And they said like, "Live about 3 years." Like you're like half, like you're half human, so you'd be like,
Oh,
"Live three
that
times
was
as long."
super weird. That
So
was
I was
super
like,
creepy.
so
Which
I
is
was
like,
like,
we're gonna die together.
yeah, right. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about.
What?
And he's like super happy about it. This is our happy ending.
Yeah. No,
That's like,
that was
I'm
totally
gonna
weird.
watch. We're going to die together, grandmama.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. That was weird as shit. I was like, what?
Yep. And
When I saw that?
and then like in the after the like the mid credit sequence is the older, I guess, veteran mouse at this point, because that's how he like looks and talks, like he's seen some shit uh from that point. So I don't know.
Yeah, did you know? And by the way, did you notice he had like a little afro growing and shit too?
I
Yeah,
did. He's like a
look,
little gray,
like
and I was like,
okay,
oh my
so
gosh.
again, that's that issue. Like I said, if we're bringing up issues,
Yep. No, I agree.
all
That,
right.
and I was more concerned the fact that this little talking mouse raised a child militia with addresses and names and basically go kill them, or sorry, turn them into mouses. That's what they
Yeah.
meant. And I was like, you couldn't get adults to do this? You're a talking mouse. I'm pretty sure you can convince a few. No,
Well, yeah, and that ending doesn't make sense, right? Because adults would be the prime people to do this to the witches because they're not being tracked by the witches.
exactly. So like that was
The
really
children are being
off-putting.
watched at all times by these witches, apparently in the lore, right? So yeah, so a group of adults who happen to know where the witches live and could plant something at any time when they're unsuspecting and just
I
do the
mean,
job would make more sense, right?
they don't seem that tough. I feel like you could just get a few Marines together, just go fuck them up. That's just my opinion. I don't know what the thought was there. But that was like, to me, it's like,
Hey,
why? That was my. I was like, is this? Are they trying to make a sequel? Is that what this is supposed to be? I don't know.
I have no idea, but yeah, but the fact that the boy and the grandmother didn't even have a name was to me like,
Yeah, that's really weird. Like I didn't even notice until you brought it up, and I was like, that's a bizarre choice.
yeah, go look at the credits again. It's like hero mouse or hero boy, older hero Chris Rock. You know, like Octavia Spencer didn't even have. She was just called Grandma.
And like, I can even get behind that, but why not even get your main character name? That's
Well, and he does have a name. His name's Lucas.
yeah, like
Like,
you have to deliberately make that choice. Yeah, this is Hero Boy, an older Hero Mouse. Like that is so weird.
yeah. So, I mean, it's a choice.
It's a bizarre one. This whole movie
Yeah,
is kind of bizarre.
I don't know what else to say.
I guess it's a relic of its time. So that was all I had to say about it. You got anything else you want to throw in there?
I got nothing, man. I mean, like I said, because the beats of the film mirror the beats of the other one. I mean, I enjoyed it in some spots. Some spots put me off of it, but I don't. I mean, it's not a don't buy, don't rent. It's just like in the middle. It's like if you happen to watch it, you like something about it, cool. I'm never gonna watch it again.
Yeah, I think as much is fair to say.
But I wasn't seething with hatred after watching it.
Oh no, that was what movie was that this week? I feel like there's something I watched that I just absolutely despise. I'm sure it'll come to me later. But anyway, it's not the worst movie I've seen this month by a long shot, but it's also like I don't know what I watched. I'm not sure. I'm probably never gonna watch it again. So,
Yeah, there's no need to watch it again because the older one is superior in my opinion. So
I'm willing to bet it is. Oh, the New Mutants. That's the one we saw that sucked.
oh, it sucked. Damn, I'm sad.
Yeah, we were bummed too. But
I'm still probably gonna watch it anyway. But
yeah, do so at your own discretion. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. See you later.
peace.